Okay, listen, here's why I'm fired up. T-Wood fight. Before we get to the T-Wood fight, I know there's two people that you would marry if you didn't have Miss Brittany.
Okay.
Daniel Cormier and Dana White.
Why do you think I get those two?
Oh, God, you love those guys. Listen.
I honestly don't know where that comes from.
Well, wait a few shows. We'll be talking about your love for DC in a second. Dana White comes out after the T-Wood fight, and he's done this in the past, and it's never made any sense to me. He says, I had the fight 3-2 Woodley. And I'm like, every time he says this, I'm like, what's your game here, Dana? You're the promoter. There's no upside to this other than all the fans that think that Wonderboy won 3-2. You're on his side, man. Go ahead and defend your husband that way. Why would he do that? It makes no sense at all. Dana, you didn't need to do that. You didn't need to do that. Okay. All you did there, then T-Wood comes out and blasts him. Then Dana comes out and then re-blasts him, says, hey, man, the only one making any decisions is me.
Okay, there's a few things going on here. All right, my promoter is Scott Coker. If I could get in a public beef with Scott Coker, I would do it right now. I just can't. We have a great relationship, but I will tell you, there's nothing better for business. The biggest draw in the history of WrestleMania was Hulk Hogan versus Vince McMahon. There is great business to be done when your star and your boss don't get along. These guys don't understand it. What you're seeing here is a shoot. When Dana says something about Tyron, that is how he feels. And when Tyron says something about Dana, that is how he feels. However, I want to make this point. Anybody that wants to get over with the crowd and the media and become marketable, the only thing they need to do, if you can give them any advice, is just be yourself. Don't ever pretend to be something you're not. You know, we talked about this with John Jones in a negative aspect. John Jones is a nice guy, but he's not the world's nicest guy, and that's what he tried to portray himself as. He always wanted to talk about God and the Bible and the fans and be this super nice guy, and people saw through it. They saw that it was fake. It's like, wait a minute, John, you are a nice guy, but that's where it ends. You're not the nicest guy ever, so quit faking. If fans sense fakeness, the gig is up. So just be whoever you are. In Tyron Woodley's case, he's sour right now. He's feeling mistreated. He's got a chip on his shoulder. He's bitching about everything. But, Joel, everything that comes out of his mouth is a headline. He's being himself. And I'll tell you, the other poor me fighter, about everything, was a guy named Bernard Hopkins. Go ask Bernard Hopkins' legacy, the opportunity he was given, and his bank account, how that worked out for him, because it worked out pretty damn favorably. Over a period of time, as long as Tyron Woodley can stand the booze and the criticism, everybody's going to love him for the very things that they hate him for today. If Tyron at any point gets tired of being booed and starts to do it the fans' way, well, Tyron, you should be doing more of this or you should be doing more of that. If he ever gives in, he is going to lose everything. Now, Tyron's going to be a heel. All right, he's going to come in with the sunglasses and the cocky attitude, but he's going to leave there as a main event, and he's going to leave there with the title, and he's going to leave there with headlines. And that's where all his focus needs to be. Boos are a heel's cheers. And when Dana White comes out and cuts a heel promo on Tyron and tells him, hey, there's only one shot caller in this business, and the sooner you find out who it is, the better. That's excellent work right there, because now both guys are being real. And if they can both just keep going, look, criticize Tyron all you want, Joel. I am a fighter. You are a fighter. I am an analyst. You are an analyst. I am a fan. You are a fan. I challenge you right now. Right now, I challenge you and any other expert out there. How well should have you fought Stephen Thompson? Because I can tell you 6 guys that came across that octagon and decided to get into a fisticuffs with the Wonder Boy, and they all have one thing in common, Joel, and that is they were all carried out.
Listen, I was rooting for T-Wood. I thought T-Wood won that fight. I watched the same.
He did win the fight.
I watched the same fight. Well, hold on.
Whoever the judges say won the goddamn fight, won the fight.
All right, listen, hear me out. So I'm watching this fight with Ladd, and I'm looking for reasons in my head that T-Wood is winning this fight. Comes down to the second round, and that is what won his fight. Neither one of them did much, but I think T-Wood did a little bit more. T Wood not only wins that fight, he goes out and gets it in the 5th round. And I'm scoring this fight in my head, and I'm like, listen, you can make a case for a 10-8 round in the 5th round. Nothing happened. He drops him twice. Since there's no equation to a 10-8 round, and one of the judges did score it a 10-8 round. That was the guy that had it as a tie. So it doesn't matter if he scores it 10-9, it then becomes a split decision. I've never saw this before. I believe the commissioner of the Nevada Athletic Commission went in the press room and talked about the scoring and dressed his judge down. Can you talk on that?
Yeah, so I don't think he went into the press room. I think some press contacted him and just asked him about that. I guess I'm not certain on that. So Saul D'Amato scored it 10-8 round. And Bob Bennett, who's the executive director, came out and he said, that's not right, and we need to have a review of this and make sure that doesn't happen again. I like it and I hate it. Let's start with the like. I like that for the first time in my memory's history, a judge was held accountable. We talk about it all the time, that judges and referees, that you see these mistakes, but absolutely nothing ever happens. So, great, something happened. Where I didn't like it is I don't know the rules on how a round should be scored, and I don't know that anyone else has ever made this clear either. They just came out, for reasons completely unknown to me, they just came out with a 7-10 round. I don't know what in the hell it takes to get a 7-10, and I'm not going to know for a few years until we see a few of them and then have some point of reference to go back and go, oh, remember when Joe fought Schmo, and remember how that all happened. We don't have any frame of reference. So for Saul D'Amato to come out in a new rule set that is exactly 60 days old, I don't know that I can blame him. And what makes that a 10-8 round? Saul, you got to tell me, you're the judge, and I don't know the damn rules or why we changed them or messed with them in the first place. And then here's the bigger theory from a psychological standpoint, is if Bob Bennett's going to come out and disagree with one of his judges, and Bob Bennett had come out and he said, you cannot have a 10-8 for 30 seconds of action. And I'm sitting back as a fan, as a fighter, and I'm going, okay. That's all I can say is, okay, now I didn't know that. I don't know anywhere where that's published. I don't know anywhere where that statement's been made. I don't know any bylaw or any criteria whatsoever where that statement has ever been made until just now. So if Bob Bennett is saying you cannot have a 10-8 because of 30 seconds of action, okay, but I didn't know that. And is that true? When you knock a guy down in boxing, it automatically goes into a 10-8 round. When you knock a guy down in MMA and almost finish him, whether that happened in 30 seconds, so what are you saying? He's got to extend the beating to what? Does 45 seconds? Is that enough time? Does it need to be 4 minutes and 5 seconds? What is the time frame, and where did time become a relevant measure for a round being 10-8? And I'm not disagreeing with it, but I am offering to you that's news to me. And if anybody, whether it's an executive director, a commission, a promoter, a fan, if anybody can come in and outweigh a judge, then why do we have judges? So I'm a little bit on the fence here. I really liked that an executive director of his state wanted a review, wanted to know why your scorecard, Mr. Judge, was not in line with my 2 other judges. I really liked that. I thought that was a really cool thing. The other side of it was, well, wait just a second. If we're going to question a judge, with what criteria did he break? With what parameter and what bylaw did he break? Why we have 10-7 rounds, man, I have no idea. And if they just keep messing with the rules and the score, I mean, these guys are going to do everything they can to screw this sport up, right? In the means of, hey, we have to do something. If we don't do anything in this next meeting, we can't really justify our existence. You see agencies all over the place trying to justify their existence. There are some things that have been around for 100 years, like boxing, that pretty well have the kinks worked out.
Listen, judging is one of the hardest things to do in a close fight. The reality is, man, I'm a fan. That's what I am. You're a fan. If we want T. Wood to win, and it's a super close fight like that, when you ask us who won that fight, we're going to say T. Wood won that fight. Same thing. If I'm rooting for Wonder Boy, I'm going to find some spots where I can say, hey, that last round wasn't 10-8 and he won 3-2. Okay? Toughest job in the world. I mentioned this about 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago, and some people had said it before. Listen, all you have to do is show at the end of the round somewhere what they were. Joe Rogan just came out and said that. Hey, post the scores at the end of the round. That's going to gain some steam because a dummy's not saying it, Joe Rogan's saying it. But the reality is, man, that fixes a lot of problems right away. Because then you know, whether you agree or not, Michael Bisping's corner told him he was, or not Michael Bisping, Rashad Evans' corner told him, hey, you're up 2 rounds to zip. Didn't really matter. I think Rashad had his best round, the third round of that fight. But the reality is, nobody knows. And then we are privy to so much information. Now I know that that's what his corner said, which turns out was wrong. Man, post those scores in between rounds. A guy looks up, says, I'm down 10-9. I got to go, or maybe I'm down 2 rounds to zip. I got to go stop this guy. There's no reason not to do it, and it solves damn near all the problems.
Yeah, I thought about that a lot too, particularly if you weigh that against other sports. If there is a goal scored, if there's a touchdown, if there's a basket, they don't keep that private and make fans guess or wonder. They go ahead and post it immediately. And in MMA, they do turn those scores in. Now, they don't turn it in instant. They turn it in instantly at the end of the round. But it does seem like, we'll go ahead and show us what that is, because you will hear announcers all the time going, hey, I really think so-and-so needs a finish if he's going to win this fight. Usually those announcers are right, but we're all guessing. And it's like, yeah, why wouldn't we just post that? And maybe there is an answer. Is there a devil's advocate you could play here? Like, it wouldn't have anything to do with the sport or the commission. It would have to do with the suspense of the whole thing. Does it add suspense when you read the announcement at the end? I don't feel like it is. I've never bought a ticket for the suspense of an announcement. I've bought a ticket or a pay-per-view to see the contest. So I can't think of a reason in the world why you wouldn't post that, particularly after you've collected it. Why would you keep that this big secret?